Well, good morning to you and the viewers at home. As you can see behind me, the stage is set for Chief Justice Raymond Zondo to deliver that annual judiciary report, which is kind of a reflection of the previous year before. Now, it's important for us to note that the judiciary, or the court rather, account to the Constitution and the law. But of course, when you look at the Constitution, there is that need to account to the public about the judiciary's judicial functions and its performance over the last financial year. So you'll have to bear with me, Desiree. The contents in detail of this report cannot be made public until Chief Justice Zondo has delivered that report, but we can look at some of the themes he will be discussing when this event begins from about 10 a.m. here at the Constitutional Court. So it's a way for the judiciary to account to the public from the Constitutional Court all the way down to the regional and district courts. Those are the lower courts. So of course, the Chief Justice will be looking at the Supreme Court of Appeal, the High Courts, the Labour Court, for example, and the Magistrates Courts, looking at those performance indicators. And some of those performance indicators will look at the finalization of matters. So when a matter goes into the court, whether it's the criminal or the civil court, for example, how long does it take them to complete those matters? We understand that sometimes in the criminal courts there is a bit of a backlog. Trials can take a number of years, and through accounting for themselves, this is how they account to the public in order to get these issues finalized. Of course, they'll also be looking at reserved judgments. You've seen in a number of high-profile cases that a lot of the judgments are reserved. They'll be looking at the period in which the date of reservement was and when the court was able to finally deliver that judgment. As they look at those different factors, they look at different percentages, Desiree, in order to, I guess, grade themselves and their performance in those areas. And then they'll be looking at the filling of vacancies. Of course, you've seen over the past year, we have seen the JSC work very hard and tirelessly to fill some of those vacancies. And in filling those vacancies, they are also meeting that transformation factor of gender and race. The performance indicators, which is a percentage out of 100, will look at those vacancies being filled in courts across the country in various divisions. And of course, it'll look at race and gender as an important factor. They'll be scored according to that as well. We've seen a number of women rise on various benches within the court. We've seen Deputy Chief Justice Maya as well come through. So we'll see those percentages when they delivered. They also look at judges that have retired, and they look at the extrajudicial positions that they may have looked at. So, for example, Chief Justice Zondo has occupied, or chaired rather, the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. He's also a Chancellor at the University of Zululand. So that report goes into detail about each judge and what they've done in terms of their career. Of course, they'll also look at the court infrastructure. Are these courts sufficient for the judiciary to perform its judicial functions? Of course, there's also a performance indicator. And then we can expect other factors that are matters of national interest to take place, such as rolling blackouts. We've seen over the past year, we have endured load shedding that has been quite severe on the courts, to the extent where some matters have had to return to the virtual format in order to be heard in that court, because they lose a substantial amount of time. And as you can see, right now we're on stage 6 of rolling blackouts. That's equivalent to 4 hours of load shedding that is lost by the judiciary when they have to perform those judicial functions. So the reports will be delivered at 10 a.m. We expect that heads of courts from various different courts and divisions, from the magistrates' courts all the way up to the Constitutional Court, will be in attendance here to hear that report being delivered. And then, of course, after that, we'll have an engagement with the Chief Justice on various issues surrounding the judiciary in the country. That will be from about 12, when we expect that he would have finished delivering that report, and we'll be able to give you that live. But as of now, we can't go into details of those exact contents, as it is embargoed until about 12 p.m. Over to you in studio.